And then if you could just hold this then. Not super convenient, but.
Yeah, I will turn this on for a minute.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 2, Rapid Fire Golf. We're live back out here at Bethlehem. Sorry, this thing's going to be a little shaky. Mary's going to do our best to hold her steady. Hopefully everything is going to go smoothly here in our first episode here of Season 2. Everyone's doing all right at home and staying safe. And for those of you who have been here before, rapid fire. So whenever you're ready, you guys can start throwing up some questions. And I'm going to answer them rapid fire style. So whatever kind of questions you have, golf related, golf swing stuff, whatever you want, I will answer them as good as I can, as quick as I can. You guys can just post up whenever you'd like, and I'll just start rolling through. So once some questions start rolling in, we'll rock and roll. Again, hope everyone is safe, doing well. I appreciate you guys being back here, and we'll get rocking and rolling. So I'm going to let this go, Mare. Maybe if you want to grab this other side, if you can.
Can you see?
I can see. We're
good. Sound
good.
good. I tested. We hear good.
All right.
Sound good.
Cool.
We look good.
Okay, Mr. Ernest, what's up, man? Are you still using the speed stick? So I don't personally use them to train right now, as I'm not really doing any kind of training. Just started back up practicing wise, but I still do recommend them. The super speed sticks, Ernest, if that's what you're talking about. When I use them for myself, they worked really good. And every time I've ever had someone use them who actually used them and did the protocol, it worked great. So highly, highly recommended. I don't do it. Mary's back there shaking her head because she did it and it works. It will improve your swing speed if you do it. It's like a good diet or workout, but like it'll work. It's just not easy. Like it takes work to do it, but I still like it. Season 2, yeah. Welcome back, John. Welcome, Ryan. Is the power fade essentially a fade with a shallow angle of attack? Yeah. So in terms of the power part of the fade, getting the compression, right, or getting the difference between the angle of attack and the dynamic loft lower, like this way. We just did some videos on compression for a master class that'll come out. To hit a ball really solid, if this is angle of attack and this is dynamic loft, you want to have those two angles as close together, within reason. So when I'm trying to compress a ball, I want the club head to be working to the ball pretty shallow, so kind of low to the ground, right? And still approaching from the inside. So I can do that and hit a fade. I just have to shift my baseline. So like if I'm up here and I'm taking my normal setup, I can just, like if this is my target line here and I want to do a shallow fade, you probably just have to open your stance line. So if I went normal, and this is kind of my normal shot, this is my just stock neutral, and I wanted to go shallow with the fade, I would just aim my feet a little left and get my club face pointed a little left, kind of square with my feet, maybe a smidge open. And then from here, I can still come shallow into it, but my swing direction is still left enough for me to be able to hit a fade shot. So the key is getting those angles like this, keeping the dynamic loft low and not trying to hit a fade by opening the face a ton and throwing it or something like that, like keeping your swing pretty darn normal to get the power part. How do I stop lifting my hands? So if you're talking about lifting on the way back, the solution in terms of whatever your issue is almost always the opposite and exaggerated. So what's the opposite of lift would be in. We'll just call it lift and up. So if you're saying your hands go up too much, you need to feel in and around more times like a bazillion. So if your arm comes off your chest and you go up like this, you're going to have to feel as you're turning, make sure you turn enough, because a lot of times the up part comes when there's no turn. So turn enough, hands work in and work way around you. So exaggerate by a billion. If that doesn't work by itself, you can do something like take a head cover, put it under your lead arm like this, and same feels. Hands in, get the butt of the club hitting your thigh and work way in around you. It's going to feel like you're swinging completely around your body. Use a video to record it and exaggerate a bazillion. Dave, good to see these are back. Yeah, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you being here. Dave, I think we had what, a +2, 38. Dave's part of our Cogorno Golf Facebook group. I think we had a 38 with a double today, Dave said. Where are you? We are in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So we're like an hour and a half outside of New York and Philadelphia. Frank, great winter swing. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun. Out of the instructor you spoke with, which one do you feel had a similar philosophy to you? Yeah, a lot of questions came up from our trip, Frank. And honestly, A, I hope you're doing well. Hope you come down sometime this summer and hang out. B, of all the people we met with, I would say all of us are saying or teaching or thinking like 90% of the same thing. So maybe we say it a little different, do it a little different, but I really didn't meet a lot of people who were like thinking something drastically different. Even when we met with Malaska, when we were talking about the, you know, him tipping the shaft versus I like to see the shaft lay down more. By the end of the video, we were saying the same thing. Like, hey, we both want the club to look like this. There's just different kind of ways of going about doing it. So I think we were mostly all saying the same stuff. Larry, should you rotate forearms clockwise in the backswing as a righty? There's going to be some forearm rotation, Larry, not a ton. It depends on what your current swing looks like. So for my normal setup, if I had no forearm rotation at all, it would look like this. So obviously from here, as I continue going, there's going to be some lift of my arms and there's going to be some forearm rotation if I want the club kind of on plane. If I want it across, so here again would be a swing with no forearm rotation and no lift of my arms. So that doesn't look normal, right? So A, there's some lift. And then for me to get the club not across the line and just be neutral, there's going to be a little bit of forearm rotation. I wouldn't do a ton of it here. I wouldn't do a ton of it here. I'd do some from about club parallel to the top to get the butt of the club on like the ball line. The forearm rotation, to kind of simplify it, should be not a ton, just a little bit. And then from here to the top is when, so from about parallel to the top is when you'll see a little bit of forearm rotation if you want the club more on plane. If you want to get the club more kind of across the line, you can just lift it and not forearm rotate and go across the line, and that's perfectly okay. But I would prefer some forearm rotation on the way back to neutralize the shaft angle. That way you don't have to do anything different with your wrist conditions, given the neutral swing. Now that we're 7 minutes in, just FYI for everyone on here, we did launch our putting masterclass today. For those that are interested, we'll put the link on after. If you search in the description on Podia, the putting masterclass, if you use the coupon code PUTTING, P-U-T-T-I-N-G, all caps, you get 50% off any of the masterclasses on there. So if you go on Podia, search Eric Cogorno Golf Podia, putting is the coupon code. You get 50% off all the masterclasses on there. If you do join Cogornogolf.com, if you guys haven't checked that out, you get access to them all free, but putting is the coupon code. Stefan, thanks for doing this. Hope you're safe and healthy. Thanks, man. Always confused how you go from P6 to impact. So hope you're doing well as well. We are. So from P6, for those who don't know, at the top, we're going to say that's about last parallel. So from here through impact, there's a lot of variables going on, Stefan. Depends on what you're looking for, but there's going to be a continuation of body rotation. There's going to be a left wrist that's losing a little flex going towards extension. There's going to be a trail wrist that's going from extension to neutral to neutral. My legs are going to be straightening as they turn. My hips are going to be pushing forward as they turn. My rib cage and torso continues to turn as it tilts. So there's a lot going on there. Certainly you're not thinking about all that. So Stefan, maybe if there's a certain part you want to know more about, I could help. Scott, hello. What's up, man? Hope all is well. Let's see here. How do I stop lifting my hand? So I mentioned that one before. Joe, would you please explain your philosophy on ball position? Do you use upper body or feet as a reference? Thanks. So Joe, I would always use upper body because for feet, it depends on feet width, and it also depends on where you're aiming. So if I use feet, the issue with that, so I would always use upper body. So for me, a stock ball position with like a normal iron, if I went straight line up like this, would be off my left eye or left ear. That'd be neutral. I want the ball kind of just back of my low point. Too far back, I'm going to hit too far down, path too far to the right. Too far forward, I'm not going to hit down enough and path to the left. You can also manipulate ball position based on your issues. So the more back the ball goes, the more I'm going to start it to the right and draw it. The more forward the ball goes, the more I can start it to the left and fade. And guess what? There's no effing rules with that. I mean, you can move the ball wherever you want if it helps you hit the ball pattern. So if I tell you it's the wrong ball position, but you do it and you play better, then I don't give a shit what I say. Do the ball position that works for you. But as a neutral, I would go off of left eye, left ear with like just a smidge of tilt. So with an 8-iron, 7-iron, like 2-3 degrees of tilt, I would go here. The issue is with feet, if I go middle, is like this is in a different position than my feet compared to this. And if I aim to the right or aim to the left, that changes that. So just do it with upper body. That will keep it more simple. And you can move it progressively forward as the clubs get longer, or you can just keep the ball in one spot and just change feet width. So some people will put it kind of off the left shirt logo, left ear, and just go like wedge will be like this, 7-iron, 5-iron, driver, and then add tilt. So go wedge, no tilt here, 7-iron, little tilt here, driver, more tilt here. And effectively, as I add tilt, what does that do? It changes where the ball is relative to my ear. So I could just keep it in the same spot, keep adding tilt, and really it makes the ball more forward because I've tilted back. Hopefully that makes sense. Jim, what's up, man? Hey, Eric, welcome back. Hope you had a great summer. We had a great winter, you mean. How many miles did you put on your car? Do you need a new one now? So I leased a little Mazda like CX-5 SUV that we drove. And I think when we left, I had like 13,000 miles on my car, and I have like 30 now. So we drove like from Pennsylvania to, what did we do? We did Pennsylvania to Florida, from Florida back up to North Carolina, from North Carolina back down to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Nashville, Nashville back to Florida, Florida all the way across the country to California, California up through Vegas, Salt Lake City, Denver, and then up through the middle. So it was a lot of traveling for us, but it was awesome. We really enjoyed it. It was everything we wanted it to be. Scott, been intrigued. Scott Taylor, Eric, been intrigued with that Alaska move, hands in, club it out. Could you do your own take on that? So Scott, I would say if you go back and watch the video we did, I think it's called How to Shallow Your Arms and Hands. It's like 15-20 minutes, trying to shorten these videos up. But we talked through that thoroughly in that video. So I'll give you a little snippet, but that will be much better. So basically what Mike and I both want, if you look at good players, is that left arm parallel during the downswing. The hands are not straight down the line. Typically they're in some amount. The shaft line, and listen, this is not like Eric's opinion or Mike's opinion. Like if you just go on YouTube and you go slow-mo down the line and stop when their left arm is parallel to the ground and look at 100 swings and find kind of where they're at, the good players all have some similarities here, right? So this is what it is. If I come up here like this, at left arm parallel, on the way down, there's gonna be some more body motion, but the shot's gonna look about like this. So I'd like the hands to be in line with the pec or sternum. The butt of the club is gonna be on or outside of the ball line for most good players. Not everyone, but most good players will be like this. So what I'm saying is when you look at good players, that left arm parallel on the way back, the butt of the club's on the ball line. So watch this. On the ball line, and we did a video on this called like shallowing your downswing or something, where I put like a million swings in a row. Left arm parallel on the way back, left arm parallel on the way down. They're all on a flatter angle. Some of them because their hands are more in, some of them because the shaft's flatter, but they're all on a flat. Other than like Ricky Fowler, there's like 3 people that steepened it because they go back flat. So at left arm parallel, the butt of the club is going to be about at the ball line or a little inside of it. So most of them are about an inch or so inside on average. When they come back down, they're an inch or so outside. So on the way back, an inch inside, on the way down, an inch outside. And that's just fact, right? Like that's what it is. So how you get there, I think, is the question mark. What Mike's saying is the way he's talking about swinging is he saying the momentum of the club, if you do this properly and let the momentum swing and use your body correctly, wants to lay down by itself. Like if I swung a club like this and I went like this, the club wants to lay down. I agree with that this way. But if I swing like this, that club doesn't want to lay down. That club wants to steepen. So it depends on what you do on the way back. If you get the club head outside your hand, shoulder internal, more Matthew Wolf, that club wants to fall back. If you go more Ricky Fowler, that club wants to go this way. So, right, you want proof of concept. You watched yesterday. Go look at Ricky Fowler, slow motion down the line before him and Butch. Even now is fine. And look at Matthew Wolf. The reason their downswing steepen or not is because they're backswings. And that's what Mike and I were saying. So if I am Ricky Fowler and my center of mass of my club or just my club head gets inside my hands and flat, other than like literally 2 people all the time, including John Rahm, they go vertical this way. Club wants to go this way. If I go back more vertical outside my hands like this, then it wants to lay back. What Mike's saying, when he was playing, he got too far under in this way. If you go out like this and it does go back and want to lay back, like he and I are too far under, we need to feel like it steepens for it to go like this. Key word there. Key word. Key phrase. Feel like it steepens. Feel like it steepens for it to go this way. Not actually steepen. Good players do not actually steepen it unless they go back really flat. So it's all about pairing up what you do on the way down with what you did on the way back. There is no one correct feel. It's impossible for me to say everyone should feel shallow, or Mike to say everyone should feel this, because that's not reality. It depends on what you do on the way back, what you need to feel coming down. The key here with this is you have a checkpoint. So there's 155 people on here. So Mary was more right than me. When I come down here like this, if I say to you, no matter what you do, try and get the club here. And we define here, okay, record yourself, hand in line with the sternum or pec, draw a line down the shaft, gotta be on or just outside the ball line. If that's your checkpoint and you need to get there, no one's right or wrong. You need to feel whatever you have to feel to get to that checkpoint. That's the key. Some of you, if you do this normally, and I say you need to be here, are gonna need to feel way behind you. If some of you are too far behind you, and I say get here, you're gonna feel like a Alaska steep move. So hopefully that makes sense. It just all depends on where you're coming from. And there's just no getting around that. So hopefully that, Scott, I wasn't gonna talk that much about that, but now you don't even have to go watch the video because I just explained the whole thing. So sorry about that, it was long. Larry, also struggle with hitting low shots with lower lofted clubs, 5-iron to woods. So Larry, one big thing is club head speed there. So the slower or lower your club head speed is, the more you are going to struggle with hitting low shots with lower lofted clubs because you don't have enough speed to get the ball high enough. So I would, Larry, so it depends. If you're, let's say your driver club head speed is 90 or below, I would consider that slow. Above 90 is neutral, and then like above 100 would be fast. So you most likely, if it's just those clubs you struggle with, may need to get a club fitting and change something with your shaft, the weighting of it, the loft of the club, and get more loft. I would check that part first, and then you can go into some technique. If you need to hit the ball higher, all else equal, you need more loft in some way, shape, or form, or you need more shallow angle of attack. So Larry, I would make sure, check your speed, check the clubs first, make sure you have appropriate clubs, and then if not, search my name and search shallow angle of attack, and that would be the piece that would get the ball higher. Dynamic loft and angle of attack. John, would you have tried to change Matthew Wolff's golf swing? You know, it's easy to armchair quarterback now because he's great and say, no, I would have left it alone. But I don't know. I feel like I would have done a good job. Like, I don't change something on someone if it's working, even if I don't like the look of it. Like, I do not like the way Ricky Fowler has swung the club in the past couple of years. Like, I do not like when he goes back and he comes back and he steepens it. Now, I would argue that if you check his ball striking stats, they agree with me, and he struggles with, like, I don't know what they are this year, but in past couple of years, if you go back and search him, I would bet his proximity to the hole with his irons, greens in regulation, all that are down. The reason he's world class, he drives it pretty well, and his short game's unbelievable. So like literally statistically, he's one of the best, if not the best putter in the world, and his scrambling is incredible. So when he goes out and he gets hot, he's okay, but then when he hits it terrible, his short game's great. So I would maybe change Ricky Fowler. I think Matthew Wolff, I heard he was shooting, you know, mid-60s since he's been nothing, you know, 2 years old. So if a kid comes in and he's shooting 65s, I'm probably not looking swing mechanics. I'm looking like mental. I'm looking like practice plan. I'm talking to his parents. I'm talking like nutrition, like probably a lot of those stuff. So I think I would leave that a go, but that's easy for me to say now, you know. I probably changed some golf swings with really good players that I didn't need to change. Like, you know, I've been coaching now for 12 years, 13 years. Like in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, did I change some swings that I didn't need to? I'm sure. Like, but that's part of the process. Hello from State College. Hello. Mary behind us is a Penn State graduate. How to best stop topping a fairway wood. So I would search my name and search actually search that literal same thing you just searched, stop topping fairway woods. And you'll see a full video on that. There's a lot of mechanics involved with it. The two pieces I would look at are the distance of your body from the ground and then your arm and hand structure. And so what I mean is, with a fairway wood, what I see people topping shots most often is, one, if I start a certain distance from the ball, I'm just making numbers up here. Let's say my chest is 4 feet from the ground. When I come down during my downswing, if my chest is 4 feet and 3 inches, that's a problem. That's a top shot. The second piece is my arm structure changing. So for me, if my left arm from my shoulder to my hand with a flat left wrist to the club, if that line gets the club on the ground, if I bend my left arm, now it's not on the ground anymore. If I extend my left wrist too much, it also makes the club go up. So I would be willing to bet either your body is getting farther from the ground, your left arm is bending too much, or your left wrist is bending too much. So I would fix the opposites. I would, during the downswing, feel my chest get closer to the ground. You got to shallow the club, closer to the ground, and then check your wrist mechanics, right? You can do something like a hanger on here for your wrist mechanics. Get it set up where it's on the left part of your wrist and crank that against your left wrist coming down and through impact. That'll make sure that your arm length stays constant and you can hit shots, solid shots. So I would check those two. This and a lot of questions. Who asked that one there? Oh, State College. This and a lot of ones, like, I'll do my best, but sometimes I just have to see your swing. Like, we build out Cogorno-Golf.com if you guys haven't checked that out yet, where you can send your swing in. I can give you feedback for it, so it's easier to answer some of this. Sometimes I don't have to see your swing, like some of the questions so far. Sometimes I do. If it's like a specific ball flight thing, I probably have to see your swing to say for sure. So if you haven't already, you can check out Cogorno Golf. You can send it in there. Charles. Hi, thanks for your time. You're welcome. How can I stop hitting off the toe? So I want to say the same thing, unfortunately, as I just said, is I probably have to see why. A lot of times with toe shots, there could be several things. Charles, what I would check would be the head on the wall video. So we just came out earlier this week with the video, if you search my name and head on the wall, where I start with my head on the object and keep it there. That's one big reason people hit toe shots. If I start here and my head's on this line, and during my downswing, the head's farther from it, so I move away from this line. Now there's toe shots. Another thing, Charles, is too vertical of a swing plane. So the handle being too far vertical. If I take my club and I just keep pushing the handle up, the club works closer and closer and closer to me. So that would be toe shot. So what I would check is record yourself from down the line, draw a line on the front of your head. Can you keep your head on the line? And then number two is feeling the shaft lower through impact. So when you're releasing it, it's more kind of tabletop. The handle's a little lower. There's bigger angle between your left arm and the club. So it feel like your head stays on the wall and that your handle's going lower through impact. And both of those pieces should help get from the toe. So if you're at impact and your shaft is very vertical, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I peered that one. That was pretty good. If you're at impact and you're vertical like this, you want to feel your shaft lower. So head on the wall, lower shaft angle. Could be some balance points issues at address. Could be honestly, it could just be because you're too far over the top. You could be too far in and up this way. So yeah, I gotta see it. Charlie, drills your advice for being underplaying on the downswing. Would this cause hooks? Yes, it would cause hooks. Yes, I have recommendations. We did a video, it's a little older, search my name, and how to eliminate hooks. How to eliminate hooks. Charlie, if you look at that one, two really good drills. One of them, which someone took my bucket, I guess. One of them, which I don't have here, but imagine, I'll just use this. Imagine you had a range bucket. If you put an object, so here's my golf ball. Who stole my bucket? Someone just literally snagged my bucket while we're standing here. So here's this. If I took a setup, and I'd use a bucket for this normally, take my setup position and put an object between my feet and the ball. So I would put it about here. So even with my trail foot, when I bring the club back, it should be just under that plane, like this. So here like this. And the point would be if I make a normal swing and come too far from inside, I would hit it. That would be one good option. Another one would be to put a stick, like you could literally put a stick in the ground through a bucket, back here like this, that you got to swing over the top of, or put one in front like this that you need to swing underneath to the left of. So if you search my name and how to cure a hook and 45-degree drill to fix your push and hooks, those drills are in that video, those videos. How do you get your swing analyzed? Jeff, you're just softballing that up for me for the promo, dude. Love it. So Cogorno-Golf.com, C-O-G-O-R-N-O Golf.com. I sound like one of those guys on like the infomercials that like spell out the things in the end. Cogorno, C-O-G-O-R-N-O Golf.com. That's our membership community. You can join there. We have multiple different tiers of membership. The lowest one is $49 a month, which I think is like such a low barrier to entry. Even if you don't like it, you can cancel whenever you want. It's $49. So anyway, Cogorno-Golf.com, you can send in, you can do a swing analysis for myself and our coaches, who are coaches that I personally work with, literally take lessons from, JT Thomas, Steve Saraki, and Dennis Sales, and John Hutzler is our we got a club fitter this year in the group as well. I don't know if anyone here is in the group. If you want to say a few kind words for us, that's much appreciated. But anyway, you can push your swing up to once a month. I love it. I think it works great. So we're going to still take members. We'll cap it at some point, but we'll still open right now. Brian, how do I stop overthinking? I'll make 4 to 5 pars in a row and then start thinking about it and tense up. So I think, Brian, the answer to any of these things, if I say to you, like, stop thinking blue elephant, you think blue elephant thing, is not to eliminate a thought, but to replace a thought. I think that's really key. And when I learned that, that helped me a ton. What do I mean? I mean, that's gonna happen. There's nothing you can do about it. Let me rephrase that. That's gonna happen. There is something you can do about it. But those things are gonna come up where you think too much. The key is replace it with a thought. What do you replace it with? A different thought, right? So for me, something that works is breathing. So if I'm on the course or wherever I'm at, and I'm thinking about like, hey, I'm going to hit a shot and there's 175 people watching. What if I hit a stupid one? I'm supposed to be the pro here. Like, okay, that thought came in, no big deal. I replace it with something. What do I replace it with? I can replace it with a different thought. So I like breathing. I can just be counting breath or feeling breathe in my nose, out my mouth, something like that. I like to get present. So I start to notice my senses. That would be, I start to see things. Like I see Mary's hat in the background. I see the grass is green. I see my club here. I start to hear. So I can hear the ball picker in the back. I can hear the wind blowing, right? I can hear cars driving by. I start to feel, I feel my feet on the floor. Right now, maybe you're sitting in a chair. And right now, if you feel your butt on the chair, 2 seconds ago, you weren't thinking butt on the chair. You didn't even realize it was there. But right now, you just felt it. Now your mind's on your butt is on the chair. And that's what you're feeling instead of, I don't want to mess up this round. So replace the thought with a new one, try different ones, and or a positive experience. If I'm on a shot like this and I'm worried because I might hit a stupid one, I'll think about a time where I did hit a good one. So replace it with a positive. That's a good one. Jim, your video with Steve, just throw from the top, greatest ever. Okay, thank you. It's okay with irons, working amazingly, any pitfalls with irons. So yeah, any of these things, it all depends, right? So like in theory, the general pieces you need to feel, you should feel with all clubs, driver included. But there will be some differences, like how much should you throw from the top? Well, if the ball's on the ground, you have a shorter club and you need to inherently hit more down on it, maybe a little less than when the ball's teed up with a driver. So there are pitfalls with anything. So yes, you have to watch with that. Hubert, what's up, man? Hubert, Cogorno-Golf.com member. Cogorno Golf.com. Eric, can you talk about a release? Can you talk about to release the club through impact? So Hubert, yeah, that's a loaded question because there's a lot there. It really depends on grip. So release. I don't know how many people we have on our membership site and how many lessons I've given, but it's a lot. One of the truths across the board that has been yet to be unproven is that the release and a flip or too much rotation, etc., things that all of us don't like, almost always 90+% happen from a club face that's too open. So I don't know how many times I've seen a flip motion. Someone sends me a swing and they go, I don't like that I flip. And then their club face looks like this coming in during the downswing. So face open, flip. Now, maybe they have a weak grip. Maybe they have a cupped wrist. Maybe they have too much forearm rotation, but the face is too open. If you look at really good release patterns like Dustin Johnson or people that look great through the ball, who literally look like they're just so stable through impact like this, almost always their club face looks like this coming down. So if you look at your downswing and that last parallel, your toe up or even more, you're in flip or roll city because you have to. Imagine your face was like this and I did a Dustin Johnson release pattern. I would hit it a country mile to the right. So we're smart and we either from here do what? Flip it. If I make a flip, what that does, how about that little catch there, huh? If I make a flip motion, what that does is closes a club face. So if I flip it, watch what that does to my little yellow. Where's that pointed? How's that looking? How about that flip, right? Check that out again. Here's me with an open face. Here's me flipping it, doing nothing else. What happened to the face? It got square. How do you like that release pattern? Yeah, right? So here's the problem. If I don't flip it and I have a really good Dustin Johnson release, how's that face? Way to the right, right? Can you see that? How's that release? Looks great. Face didn't get closed. Why? Because it was too far open. So if you want to get a better release and fix your flip, you need to get your club face more square closed. How? Make sure your grip is neutral. Make sure that the club face is pointed towards the ball like our Sam Golden square to square on the way back. Get it more towards the camera at the top. Keep it more towards the camera, more towards the ground on the way through. How do you do that? You can do it through wrist conditions. So you can do a little twist, bow your left wrist, bend back your right. Do that on the way down. Do that on the way down. I would say 1 in 100 people have the face too closed that I have to fix, and that's usually easy peasy. So if you want a better release pattern, you got to get the face first. And then, of course, who asked that? Hubert. Of course, there's body rotation. I mean, a lot of variables involved. But the process here is get your club face square first, and then do swing direction, and then do body pivot. Club face, swing direction, pivot. Club face, swing direction, pivot. So if you're like not knowing what's going on, get your club face square, right? Get the club face tilted down a little towards the camera, tilted down, and hit some shots where the face is tilted down, and you hit some low left bullets. And then put the stick in or do something where you get your swing direction working from inside with that club face. Now you're hitting some nice bomb draws, but you still hit pushes and hooks, some fats and thins. Then you do all the body rotation stuff to neutralize it. Almost every good player I've worked with goes through those phases. I might get them where they're in phase 3, and all I got to do is body. I might get them in phase 2, and I got to do swing direction and body, but it goes face, swing direction, body. Okay. Have definitely improved my positions as per checkpoints during lockdown, but not translating to improve strikes immediately. Transition from new swing to striking well on the course. So the biggest thing to get it on the course is how you practice. If you search my name in practice, and I post it on Instagram and within our group in practice, when I come hit balls, if all you're doing is mechanics practice, that's not going to translate to the course unless it's you're making some kind of overwhelm, like a club face change, something you do that's just so much better that you're going to hit it better no matter what. But you have to practice in phases. How do you do that? Number one, when you go to the range, warm up and do wedges at the same exact time. Kill two birds with one stone. Have targets on the range, or figure out how to do this if you don't have targets. Hit some 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Get your wedge distance system in. How far is my 50 swing? 60, 70, 80, 90. And then you do your mechanics part 2, 20 to 30 balls. When you're doing mechanics practice, you have to completely not care where the ball goes. I mean, absolutely no concern with where the ball goes. 100% concern on your mechanics. You have to videotape it, so use a live view. If you guys don't have a live view, these little things, or you can use your phone or mirror vision, use whatever you want. This little live view is what we use here. I don't even know how to freak to get my thing back open that we closed. Here we go. So our live view that's in here, it's a little red thing. And we work with them because it's the best one. It's the best thing I've seen yet to use it. You can literally watch yourself as you're doing it. Like, it's the best feedback. So just a little live view thing like this. You put it behind you, it records, and then you just link it up to your phone or iPad. So like literally as I'm standing here, my phone's sitting right here, and I'm watching myself do the movement. So that would be the second part of the practice. And do whatever you want. Do a phone, whatever. Record yourself. And then you got to do ball flight stuff. So my next part of my practice, let's say I did 20 ball wedges, 20 balls mechanics. Don't give a shit where the ball goes when I do mechanics. Just 100%. Am I doing the move? I've got 1 or 2 things I determine are my priorities, and I'm doing them until I get them. And then I do ball flight. How I do ball flight for me, because I like a draw, I pick a target in the distance. You can see those little things out there maybe. So let's say I'm hitting at the 200. And then I pick a secondary target about 20 feet to the right of that. Now I have a grid. So if you can imagine, pick 2 trees in the background. 1 target and then 20 feet to the right of it. Now I have a grid. Now when I'm doing my ball flights, my rules are it must start in the zone, a 20-foot grid, curve in that zone, and land in that zone. So I pick one side of the target. So if you want to do a fade, you pick a target and pick a secondary target 20 feet to the left. Or per your skill level. If you're better than me, you might go 15. I don't know that you're going to go shorter than that. But, or you go 25, 30, 40 feet, whatever you need, 20 yards. Must start in the zone, curve in the zone, because we're not playing straight shots, and land in the zone on the correct side. And what I'll do is I'll work my way up. I'll start with the sand wedge. I pick my zone, I'll hit 1 shot, and if it goes in the zone, I go to my next club, gap wedge, and just work my way up. If I miss the zone, I stay at that current club and have to do it twice in a row. So that's how I practice my skill set. Because people ask me all the time, how do you take your mechanics feels and go to the course? That's where I discover my feel. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say right now I'm working on my backswing, feeling like my chest is rotating more and my hands are a little deeper. And that's what I'm working on. I recorded it. I go in to hit shots. Now I'm going to try and, I got my target, my zone to the right. I'm going to try and feel the same thing, feel the same exact piece, but now I'm visualizing my shot pattern. I'll do my full routine. So I'll do rehearsal, feel, rehearse the feel again, see my target, see my grid, pick my start line, head back up. And now I'm going to try and feel those backswing pieces, but now I'm more mindful of ball flight. I see it starting just left of the right side of my grid. I see it curving a little left and landing just to the right. So I'll feel the same piece. And that I hit absolutely terrible. And I missed to the right. So the point being, I didn't hit that in the zone. I'd stay on this club until I got it twice. But I'm correlating my feels. Okay, when I feel this thing, the ball's hooking more than normal. Okay, so then do I need to feel something a little bit different? Do I shift ball position? I do what I need to do in that zone to get the ball flight pattern I want. And then at the end of your practice, the last 20 balls or so, and I would do the same thing with a driver. So very important you do with driver. I do like, even if you got to do less balls, do 10 ball wedges, 20 balls mechanic, 20 balls like this, 10 balls driver. So that's 10, 20, 30, 20. So now you got 60 balls. And then do another like 10 or 20 with random. If you go through that little 4-phase practice thing like that for the next, I mean, you should do it forever. But the rest of your year, I guarantee you play a lot better on the course. Your stuff transfers to the course much better and you shoot much better scores. But if you go to the range and you only do the second part of mechanics, and then you don't even give yourself feedback with video, so you're guessing by feels, and then you start changing shit based on what the ball's doing, guess what you got? You got a lot of this coming. You got a lot of going on the course not knowing what's going to go on. A lot of this, right? And that's what a lot of you people, that's what we do. That's what I did for a long period of time. You got to do that. You have to do the grid. Doesn't matter what side you do, just pick one side. If you want to do a draw, do it to the right. If you want to do a fade, do it to the left. Start with a club. If you miss it, do 2 in a row. Don't leave till you get it. And then what I do with a driver pattern is I got to get 10 in a row. And that's hard, but guess what? When I get 10 in a row in a grid with my driver and I go on the course, I don't miss a fairway ever because it's the same shit, right? I go out here like this. I pick a target and a secondary grid. The ball's now for a fairway, I'll give myself like 30 yards. Okay, I'm not Fred Funk. I'm a little more Phil Mickelson. I'll go like 30 yards. So I pick a left edge of a fairway and a middle. I like to hit a fade. Left edge of a fairway and middle of the fairway, I imagine. I got to start the ball in the zone, curve it to the right, and land in the zone. 10 in a row. 10 in a row before I hit. So that was another long answer, but that is the answer. Okay, I lost my spot here. Bear with me. I'm getting jacked up. All right, I got to go faster. There's a lot of questions here. I'm sorry. So
Rapider.
I'm going way more rapider. All right, here we go. Rapid fire coming. Sorry, guys. Are you a stack and tilt proponent? I'm not a proponent of anything. I think stack and tilt has good principles. I think even they would be more free across the board than their perception of stack and tilt. All good players have elements of stack and tilt in it. Lance, when I'm at the top of my swing, start the downswing and have the slight movement toward the target, I am hitting it fat. What should I check? When I'm at the top of my swing and start the downswing and have a slight movement towards the target, hitting it fat. Yeah, I'd have to see that, Lance, to say for sure. Maybe you don't have enough body rotation. You could have poor wrist conditions. The club face could be too open. I'd have to see that. I really would have to see that, Lance. There's just too many variables. You can try something simple like put the towel behind the ball, search my name and how to cure fat shots. But to really fix that, you got to find out why it's happening. I have to see that one. Can you explain Steve Pratt's throw the club again? How does that accomplish shot on the club? So from the top, the Steve Pratt motion, I'm just going to do it with the 3 because I have it out, is more about getting the club. I'm going to do like a dumbed down version. Is more about getting the club going this way from the top. And so there's a lot of different things with that. The reality is how much or what sort of release you need, what you should look like at impact with the driver, and what sort of dynamics you need for distance really depends on club head speed. I mean, if you get your club head speed measured with a driver and you're under 100 miles an hour, you should be for distance wise, you should be trying to throw it more this way. You should be trying to get a wider circle. You should not be trying to pull your hands forward or hit down on it. If you're Dustin Johnson and you swing 120, or Matthew Wolff, a bazillion, you can do whatever the hell you want. You could do this, you could do here. Now, some people say, well, that creates the speed. Partially true, but for them, they have enough speed to do it. If you don't have enough speed, you need more loft. Like the number one thing you need is loft to get the ball up in the air. And so how do I get loft? Well, for me, I'm going to throw it more like this. So when he's doing it, he's doing that more up top like this. Now, when we did that video, he was showing just that one motion. Like, you got to understand, as that's happening, there's really going to be body motions going. I mean, if you did that in motion, it's much different. It just looks goofy because we're just isolating one movement. So because I'm taking so long, there's a lot of questions. That's all I'm going to say on that, but hopefully that helps a little bit.
And check out Steve's YouTube channel.
Yeah, and Lewis, that's a good point, Mary. If you check out Steve's YouTube channel, he's got a ton more videos on there. John, everyone help out EC button, smash that like button. I like that, John. Hired, baby. Enjoyed your stuff with Malaska. Thank you. We did too. Superstition Mountain with Malaska and Milo was just stunning. One of our most favorite places. Larry from San Diego, what's up, buddy? Welcome back. Thank you. Any good drills to use my upper body to initiate my backswing versus using my arms and hands to start? Yeah, so a lot of things you could do with that. You could do a towel underneath the arms, right? So like a simple thing to start with would be where it makes you use your body. Now, I don't love the towel under the arms for everything, but for this, if I put a towel underneath my arms, for me to get the club going, I mean, I got to feel like a ton of core motion here. So you could do some little swings with the towel part. I don't care if it comes out on the way back or down, but just to kind of get started. Tour striker ball between your arms would do similar things. I lost someone stole my range bucket. I think it was the guy that works here. So if you put a range bucket between your arms and feel the same sort of thing, that'll go. For me, what I like to feel with my upper body, and this depends on what you're currently doing, I love doing this turn drill. So I'll put a stick inside my right foot. I'll put a club across my shoulders, and I'm trying to feel my body rotating over that. So I'm trying to get this stick past that one. For me, it feels like my core is moving, and it feels like my upper back from like sternum to the top, and only my upper back, it feels like my upper back rotates more, like late in the back. So that's kind of what I'm feeling with that. So there's a lot of ways to do that. I think that was Larry that asked that. But those would be some good ones to start with. You could do a million. I mean, I'm going to come with a million of these later on. I'm thinking like, oh shit, there's a ton I could have told them. You can put the club in your stomach and do some moves with this here to get a feel. Some of that stuff will work fine. I'll be laying in bed later thinking like, shit, there's 20 drills I could have told Larry that would have helped. Toe down with driver at hip takeaway. So, okay, good question. I would go more, that's a really good question. Yes, but I would potentially go a little more toe up. The baseline idea, and this is not scientific, this is just observational. The baseline idea of what we're trying to do is get the face of the club. So this right here, does this go on here? Get the face of the club. No, okay. Get the face of, get the face of the club on the same angle as my back. So this is like my back line here, like this. I'm trying to get the face of the club on that same angle. So when I have a sand wedge, this will be a light bulb moment, I think, for some of you. So if I stand here with a sand wedge and I take my posture, what am I with a sand wedge? More bent over than driver or less? More bent over. So what's my, if that's parallel to it, what's that going to look like? More tilted down. Now, if I do driver and I have a ball teed up, where's my posture? Much taller. So if that's parallel to my spine line, that's also what? Much less tilted down. Here's my sand wedge because I'm bent over like this. Here's my driver because I'm bent over like this. So the baseline idea, that had to be a light bulb moment for somebody. The baseline idea is to keep it parallel to your back line. Is that like you can't play good golf unless you do that? No, but it's a decent spot to start with. So it'll be less toe down, but you're not like purposely doing that. That should just happen by itself, ideally. For given swing speed and strike quality, what increases carry distance with low irons? Dynamic loft, if so, best work on this with other variables. For a given swing speed and strike quality, what increases carry distance with low irons? What increases carry distance is ball speed. So that could be club head speed. So more ball speed. So that could be your club head speed was faster. You hit the ball more in the middle of the face. You got better clubs. So your strike point's less than the heel of the toe and vertically. So if you hit it low or high on the face, the ball speed goes down. If you hit it heel or toe, depending upon the toe and where the COG is, the ball speed will go down. So higher ball speed. Yeah, lower dynamic loft if you can keep the other launch and spin angles the same. But the lower the loft you go, the more speed you need to swing the club with to get the ball to launch and go high enough to carry far enough. So in terms of increasing carry distance, I would say in general, you're looking for more compression. So giving your speed to, again, lower that angle between the angle of attack and the dynamic loft. How you need to do that depends on why you're not compressing it. That's the answer. So those who hopped on new, weren't here before, just real quick, we did launch our putting masterclass. The coupon code is putting, P-U-T-T-I-N-G. Hopefully everyone knows how to spell that. It's all in caps. I don't know if that matters or not, but it's putting. You get 50% off any of the master classes. We'll put it in here later, but if you search my name on Podia, putting and any of the master class, you get 50% off until midnight. If you haven't checked out CogornoGolf.com, we should have done some kind of coupon because it's our first live, but we didn't. So anyway, if you want to send your swing in Cogorno Golf, C-O-G-O-R-N-O Golf, I'm going to start doing that. CogornoGolf.com with the spell. Nice classroom. Thank you very much. Additional to Steve Pratt, do you think that Malaska approves of throwout? I asked him one of his, but he received no reply. Yeah, I don't know, Brian. I think this is Brian, that he's actually on there doing the comments or not, because I sent some people over. I think, unfortunately, I don't know that he's on there, because it'd be cool to chat with him. Yeah, so yes, same sort of thing. Now, when I talked with the mic releases and we talked right arm, right wrist, it all depends on what your club face is doing. So like, it all depends. I mean, the more my club face is tilted down here, if you watch like, go watch a front view of like Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, or Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson, those Colin whatever his name is, Hara, something. The more the club face is tilted down like this, the more you're going to see throw, and it's going to look like this on the other side. So the more it's tilted down like this, they're not going to twist. The more it's tilted down, they're going to throw it right on plane, and it'll look like this, past impact if you see them. Now, why does it not look like a throw? Because there's timing to it, okay? So if I go like this, I do the same, this is going to be the same exact motion. If I have this here, and I do the throw, but I do it early, what does that look like? Flip. Now, if I do the same exact thing, but my body's turning, and I do it here, watch this, same throw motion, but my body's turning. Moment of impact, good, and then it throws here. You guys would all love that. It's the same exact motion, it just happens later. Why does it happen later? One, again, you have to have your club face in place. Your brain, if your club face is more like this, is never gonna release it like that. It's always gonna either flip to release it or twist to release it. And guess what? You could twist to release it. Who's a good twist to release player? Phil Mickelson can hit his driver off the planet, but he also won a gazillion tournaments. So if your face is more here and steep like this, you can flip to do it. Patrick Reed, flip to do it. Jason Day, a lot of, and I'm saying flip, I should say twist. So Phil Mickelson, twist to do it. Patrick Reed, twist to do it, won the Masters, both of them. Jason Day, twist to do it, has like 1 million top 10s in majors. So it's not wrong, okay? You could argue statistically that it's not as good. I got off on a tangent there, but that's the whole thing in terms of Steve Pratt and Alaska. They would say, yes, you want to feel that if your club face is more like this. From the top part, again, if you're isolating it and I'm doing my motions right, yeah, I want to feel some of that to get the club head hitting up on the ball and get the dynamic loft higher. The only reason that's scary is because we've been told that's bad, and industry standard is that's bad. But the reason that the cast is bad or a flip is bad is only for those whose face is too open and they're flipping square. If your face is in line, you do it. I bet you hit the ball higher and farther than normal. A lot of you, if you got your face in order and felt the club flipping out here, so you don't flip at the ball, you don't flip at the ball, you flip out here, flip out here, flip out here, would hit the ball a lot farther. The timing, we'll do a video on that. The timing of the flip is important. I'm not going to get to all these questions because I'm taking way too long. I apologize.
He's out of rapid practice.
I'm way like rusty on the rapid fire.
Thorough fire.
Okay, Chris, here we go. 13 minutes. We're going to roll through these. On the sit in the chair, move to start the downswing. My club is bottoming out before the ball. Does this mean I'm early releasing and need more left hip turn? Yeah, so I would check a couple things. Number one, the lower that I go to the ground with my body, whether it be legs. So if I'm, again, 4 feet, and now I'm 3.5 feet, something else needs to get shorter. It could be your right arm. It could also be your right wrist. So I would say, number one, when you're doing that, keep your right arm bent longer. You want to still let that abduct, so your arm's going to work across your chest. We need to do a video on right arm abduction too, so the right arm needs to work across your chest, but it doesn't need to work straight in this way. It needs to work across your chest, but it doesn't need to go. So anyway, if you're hitting them fat, right arm more bent, right wrist more bent, and make sure you have enough rotation to be able to transport that. So I would say overall rotation, right arm, trail arm, and trail wrist bend would be like the on paper answers to that. When are you doing a UK tour? No time soon, but maybe. We really liked our travel. I think if we did a couple different tours, we could figure it out where it worked better. I mean, it's exhausting. Like it's a lot, but it was awesome. So we'll see maybe. James.
In the meantime, come see us here.
What specifically do you disagree with stack and tilt? Nothing. FYI, I'm a 20-year-old golfer, started stack and tilt last 12 months, never hit up here. Yeah, I don't disagree with stack and tilt at all. I love stack and tilt. I think it gets a bad rap. I think people we're trying to put it like when we do YouTube videos, we got to play the YouTube game. So there's like titles, trick, easiest drill, the best thing, the magic, whatever. Because that's what you have to do. Stack and tilt, at least the story I know with Mike and Andy, they had to make a name for it because they were doing the book. So like they don't really just teach the same thing. They don't teach just certain things. They teach per the player in front of them. So there's a ton of stack and tilt coaches that are the best. There's just certain principles they use with them, which we all do. We all have to me, I call them checkpoints. You know, it's the same shit. So I have nothing bad to say about anybody, really. Hey, Eric and Mary. Hello. John Polini says hello, Mary.
Hi, John.
Glad to be back with you on Monday afternoons. We're glad to have you back here. John Pelini is a Cogorno Golf OG.
Mm-hmm.
Aussie golfer. I'm hitting my irons out of the heel, early extension. I'm putting my weight more in my heels and turning my right pocket more back. I'm a single figure handicap. What do you suggest? Yeah, so I'd have to see that one to say for sure. If early extension, let's assume your setup's fine. Let's assume your backswing's fine, which are two like just enormous assumptions. Assuming your setup and backswing are fine. Like let's say your balance, let's say you're not too far back on your heels. Let's say your armpits aren't too far forward and you're just doing this. Let's also say you have sufficient depth on the way back. Let's say your hands, because you could be early extending because you're too vertical and you need to shallow the hands. You could be butt too far back over and then you're just doing this. You could be bending too far back and then you're like saying there's a lot of reasons before the downswing. So I'd have to see it. Let's assume you're all good here like this. You need to feel more of the forward bend part. So the chest, like your chest, gonna touch the ground over your right leg. Like that's kind of your first sensation. Now, as I do that, what happens to my butt? It works back. And this is something that one of our Cogorno golf coaches, JT Thomas, and I have been working on with my swing. It's the forward bend part. That would be the key to start with, is getting the forward bend of the upper body as the pelvis and legs go back. Like Mike in the video with Mike Malaska, it's more of a back motion, which I like that a lot. And I'll probably start teaching more towards that than the turn piece, but it's more of the forward and back. Like if when I come down, feel that forward bend, my left leg goes back and hip goes back by itself. I could also feel those pieces together. We'll do a video. You need to imagine that your head is on the wall or on like a plane of glass, and you're going to break the glass forward. So you're not going on your toes. The weight stays in the middle of your feet, but my head's going to break the glass as I'm doing my downswing pieces. It's just kind of forward bend over the right foot would be where I'd start with that. Mr. Ross Fisher, what's up? Ross says, hi, Mary.
Hello,
From
Ross.
Scotland. Hello from Bethlehem, PA. Having issues opening my shoulders too quickly, causing over the top. Do you have a drill to keep my back to the target longer? Yeah, so really you don't need a drill. You need what you just said. You need to record yourself and exaggerate to the point where you hit the checkpoint, right? And that's a lot of us here. So when you come back and you go to the top, you want to feel that you do the turn. If this is inside my right foot, turn it inside of there. And then as I transition, I'm going to feel like I do my forward bend and my chest and shoulders stay here. So I'm at least 45 degrees. So I'm going to feel like it stays back. So I feel a little bit of stretch in my left lat. So turn it back 45. And as I start down, I'm feeling like it stays back. I'm feeling like it stays back. So when I put a club in then and I hit, I need to feel the same thing. Turn back, forward bend. Turn back, keep it back, forward bend. And let your right arm abduct. Let it go across you. Let your left arm work off your chest as you come down. And record it. And if you don't stay close enough, what do you do in the next swing? Exaggerate it more. And if you don't stay close enough, what do you do in the next swing? Exaggerate it more. But Eric, I tried that. I still can't do it. Then you're going too fast. Then you need to go slower. Exaggeration and speed, you can change anything with discipline on it. That's a little nugget, huh? How does left shoulder move during the swing? So Richard, if you search my name in left shoulder, I have a video that goes through it thoroughly. If it starts here, it works down and in on the way back, or roughly to just past my shirt buttons. And then as I start down, it's already lower than my right shoulder at the top. It stays lower until I get to about left arm parallel. And then from about left arm or trail arm parallel from here, and now it starts to go up and back and around. Up and back and around. So it goes down and in, stays down, and now it works up and back behind me. That's the left shoulder video that took us 12 minutes in a YouTube video that just happened in 20 seconds. How do I get the club to be straight out from the chest when the club is pointing to the target? Is it more a shoulder issue, hip not rotating, over rotating the arms? How do I get the club to be straight out from the chest when the club is pointing? Do you know what that means? How do I get the club to be straight out from the chest, maybe like this, when the club is pointing to the target? I think that's what you mean. Is more short? Yeah, so if that's what you mean, I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but if you're saying club to the target out of the chest like this, when arms are parallel, the key is getting the hips and the chest and shoulders turned fully 90. So like if I have this stick here and I put this on my left foot, put this inside my left foot, I want to feel my hips, this is kind of a shitty angle, but I want to feel my hips fully turned 90. I want to feel my shoulders fully turned 90. You can't get your arms out in front, extended in front of your chest if you don't have enough turn. Yeah, impossible. I think that's what you mean. Do you know who Perg Hogsrud? I don't know. I did that right or not. I do not know who that is. No. Jamie, what's your favorite drill to stop someone from getting club head open and inside on the backswing? So multiple ways to do this. On the way back, now again, I would like to use objects as much as possible. So I would put like a wall here or my golf bag. If my club's going too far inside, put something in my way so I have a checkpoint. Like that's one thing I think is key in practice. Put objects in your way if you can, so you always have checkpoints. So if your feels are goofy, you always have something to go back to. So here would be this. I'd say, all right, put this just underneath where I start. Club head must stay outside of that. Keep the club face pointed towards the ground. And when I come back, I want to feel the face and the back of my lead hand towards the ground. So I'd say outside of the object, face down, left hand down. And then I'd hit a swing and I'd say, holy shit, it's still open. Okay, no big deal. Next one. I got to exaggerate more. Face more down, left hand more down. Wow, that feels closed. Okay, I go and hit it and it looks normal. So now I know, wow, that feels closed is exactly what I need to feel to get normal, but you must record yourself to be able to get to that point. For more, okay. For more, I thought that was something it wasn't. For more mature adults, what physical practice would you recommend to improve mobility? A lot of different ways. I think just general life stuff for mobility is good, golf or not. I personally do full mobility and yoga routines twice per week, usually on Wednesdays and Sundays. So I lift. I don't know if you can see some of these here, but I lift Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I do mobility recovery stuff Wednesday and Thursday, such as like general yoga. Dennis, I think I just literally went on YouTube, shout out YouTube, and typed in like beginner mobility, beginner yoga. And that's the kind of stuff that I've done that's helped me in terms of that. So any kind of, if you go see a physical therapist, stuff like that, if you check out the Golf Swing for Senior Masterclass, that's all about how to turn enough and get enough depth on the way back. If you can't move as much, for me, it's more important to get enough turn and depth on the backswing than the downswing to start. Because from there, I can teach you to hit hooks and break 80 if you can chip and putt. Then you can do the rotation stuff on the way through later. What about towing a fairway, Matt? I'd say the same things if you search earlier that I said for towing in general. The head off the wall and the shaft being too vertical. Break the plane, lower the shaft in general. You could also be too steep, too inside. I have to see that to say for sure. I don't know if you're Matt Irwin from our group, Matt Irwin, but that's what I'd say. Wesley, how do you initiate? How much can I get done here in 4 minutes? How do you initiate right hand roll to get through the ball? I'm holding off, keeping palm up. So Wesley, again, like it depends on where the face and your grip is at. If your face is more tilted down, you don't want to roll as much. If your face is more open, you do want to roll more. If you want to get the face more down, you're going to need palm more down early. What I would do is either do, and these videos I think are coming out next week or the week after, compression drills, and we're going to do a compression masterclass. It's going to launch like a month from now that every single one here could hit it better, but that's not for like another month. You could do this. This will come out next week. Use the hanger, crank the hanger against your wrist to tilt it down. Or the best training aid that I like for this, right? And we don't make money off this, I don't think. Do we make money if we sell this? All right, we make a couple bucks we sell it. But either way, I don't care about a couple bucks. I'll send it back to you. Tour Striker Power Click. Of all the training aids for the right wrist, this one you put on and use this. Who asked that? Wesley. You Tour Striker Power Click, keep the right wrist bent, palm more towards the ground, and learn to hit shots with that. You have to see there's something going on earlier, like a poor grip or something that's causing you to have issues with that. If you're having a hard time fixing something, a lot of times there's something going on earlier that you can't fix it. Ross, 2 or 3 best moves feels to get better, more turn in my backswing. Can't open my email from last summer. So Ross, I don't know what you mean about the email. Maybe as a swing analysis, I would do this drill. So search my name and backswing turn, and you do the stick inside the right foot. Stick, this is to me the only drill you need. Stick across your shoulders. Get this at or past that. Get this at or past that. Hit a ball, feel the same thing. And if you're not turned enough, you just need to exaggerate more. From there, you can go individual feels. You can feel your right shoulder working behind you more. You can feel your left shoulder and upper back turning more, like this. You can let the lower body turn more to be able to do it. You can change foot flare. You can let the right leg lengthen more. Search my name in right side feels for better backswing and backswing turn. Patrick, tried most of this stuff for about a year. Always been a flipper and always a cross line of backswing. So trying my swing with the right thigh felt great. But I flipped even more. Yeah, there's timing to it too. Remember, Patrick, it might have to be later. You have to make sure the face is square enough early enough to do that. So I'd have to see that one. We have about a minute, guys. If I didn't get to your questions, come back next week and we'll go through that. I don't know who that is. What is a good trigger getting front side turning first? So there's a lot. I mean, you can get the lead side turning by thinking about it directly. So for you on the way down, you could be pushing off your left foot. You could be getting your kneecap towards the target. You could feel your lead hip down and around. You can feel your belt buckle towards the target. I mean, there's a gazillion. if you search my name in lower body feels or search my name in rotation, you should see videos on that one. Thanks, appreciate. There's a lot going on. Mike Bender talks about firing the wrist. I really extend and flip my wrist at impact. Just confused to get the club square. Yeah, I'd stick with me on that one. And if you already fire the wrist too much, why would you start doing that early? That doesn't make sense to me. I think if I stood next to Mike Bender and we were looking at your swing, we'd probably say about the same thing. It just all depends on what you need to feel. John, help me from starting downswing with the shoulders. Yeah, you need to help yourself with starting downswing from the shoulders. If you already know what your issue is, if you start with the shoulders, what would be the opposite of that? Starting with the shoulders, feeling like they're doing what? Staying more closed early. How do you do that? You do the drill I did earlier with the club across your shoulders, turn back 90, keep it back 45. Maybe also you would do a swing direction station, John. So you put something like this in behind you, search my name in the best drill I've ever seen, and you want to keep that underneath that the whole time. Or even better, we did a how to get depth video with Ben Pelicani in Nashville, where you put the little rod over your shoulder. That'd be even better for that. So that's it, guys. We hit our hour. I do see there's a bunch more questions that I'm just not going to get to. I apologize for that.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming back right away on week 1 and being back with us here to start. We are going to do every Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys do have any questions, you can hop back here. Hopefully you guys keep enjoying the YouTube videos. We're going to keep doing our normal Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and I think we're going to pop in potentially another video, which is more of me like going through an actual lesson with someone, either online or in person. So we'll do that. One more time, if you guys do want to check out the putting masterclass or any of the masterclasses, coupon code putting, PUTTING, 50% off all the masterclasses. That's till midnight tonight. Till midnight, putting on all masterclasses. If you haven't checked out Cogorno Golf, check it out. It's $49 a month for the basic one. You can send in your swings once a month. Get in the Facebook group. I think that you guys will. You can get all the masterclasses for free. You guys will enjoy. So thanks, guys. Hope all is well. Hope everyone's staying safe. And we'll see you guys next week at 5.